We're going back to 1982 and reliving the first two issues of the G.I. Joe Real American Hero comics right now on our G.I. Joe comic reaction series.
And before we go live, smash that like button, turn on notifications, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss a beat.
Hey everyone, welcome to our G.I. Joe comic reaction series. I'm Michael, and joining me for this weekly series is my good friend and one of the first people I met on YouTube, Soundtracks with Birdman. How the heck are you this Monday evening?
Boy, let's do this! Let's do this! Yeah! Yeah!
Something tells me you are pumped for this.
Yeah! I may have had some sugar cookies before we came on. Do this.
That's good because you're 2 hours ahead of me, so you need all.
That's right. I gotta get up at 4 a.m. tomorrow. So
good Lord.
I know. Being a man is rough.
It is. It is. But I'm super excited to start this with you because this is going to be really fun for me because I actually never had looked into the G.I. Joe comics ever until you were like, hey, there's a Kickstarter happening. Do you want to back it? And I was like,
okay. Hold up. There's a Kickstarter happening. Let's put that in perspective. It needed $50,000 to fund. It did that in under 6 minutes? It broke $1 million before the first night.
Yes.
So
it was happening, right?
It kicked all the starts. Just kicked them all.
It did. So it actually took me a while to come around to be like, hey, it did. Like, how long did it take? Like at least 2.5 weeks, or at least most of the Kickstarter to come around? Right?
Maybe, yeah, because I kept talking to you about it, and I was like, how did you not read the G.I. Joe comic? Because before the action figures came out, and my first action figure was Snake Eyes, and I thought he was a bad guy because he was dressed like Darth Vader, you know? And then the comic book came out, and, you know, you couldn't advertise toys back in the day, but you could advertise books. So they made these little cartoon clips to advertise the comic book. So you get the comic book, and then you get to know about the characters, and you learn, oh, Snake Eyes can't talk. Okay. And he's a good guy. Okay, that's cool. And then the cartoon came out of the comic book commercials. But, I mean, the cartoon went a different track from the comic book. And then, you know, what you play in your backyard kind of just meshes everything together, and you create your own world. But
yes, yeah, I did all of that except for the comic part, and actually, I don't remember where comics were sold where I grew up. Where
everywhere.
In like drugstores, wherever, like
gas stations.
Yeah. Okay. Talk me through that.
7-Eleven, 24/7, baby.
Oh, yeah, I do remember stuff at 7-Eleven. Where did you get your comics?
Like the no-name gas station and drugstore in the country town I grew up in.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they had a spinner rack there, and I mean, you got to go buy gas, you know. Be like, Granddaddy, you buy me a comic book? Okay. So,
but before then, you had actually sent me, just to get me excited about the comics, you'd sent me issue number 34.
What an issue!
It's a fantastic issue, and so I read it. And by the way, I'm a slow reader.
That's okay. I am too.
Always have been. And so, but I did enjoy the comic, and so I was like, I forget if you'd sent me this before I backed it or
before.
Okay, all right. So this got me really into this now, and I was like, okay, there's how many issues in here? 150 or 300 issues of comics in here for.
I think it's like 155 for G.I. Joe. Special missions, I think, ran for a few years. There was 4 issues of G.I. Joe versus Transformers. That's total garbage. And then there was like an order. There's an order of battle that lasted a couple issues, but like the core is like 155, and then special missions, which were just like all little one-shot stories.
So, All right. Before we dive into further, let me just check in and see who is tuning into the show. We have crew member Frankie Rivera. We have crew member Robert Alessandrini, Steve Munar, Joe Fan 84. We have Silver K. Smack that like, y'all.
Smack that like button, everyone. Smack it hard.
Smack it up, flip it, rub it down.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh my, and John Guzman is here. That's it. Yeah. If you are, if you're in the chat, just sound off and we will say hello to you. Yeah. This is meant to not only relive my reaction to reading this the first time, but also just like, we're here to talk about this with everyone. So.
And speaking about.
Oh yes. Yes. We have Steve Plett just snuck in here. Let me give you a, and we have people coming out of the woodworks, Nerd Corp.
All right.
All right. So let me give you a solo layout here, and yeah, check this out.
9.6 issue 1, first printing. Okay. I wish it was a 9.8, but maybe one day I'll upgrade.
So when did you get that, and what made you say I want this comic as a 9.6 and not a 9.8?
Well, he didn't have a 9.8 that day, so
This was an actual store.
The comic dealer, he comes to town like 3 times a year with like a roaming antique show, and I've been dealing with him for over 10 years, and
nice.
This was $100 back when I bought it. I think now it's worth more now, but yeah. I would like a 9.8. This was not the first. I started the comic book I think around issue 3. So when I started getting into it. I know issue 2, they didn't print as many because they weren't expecting it to sell as well. It sold really well, so that was the first one that got a reprint. And actually, this comic book saved Marvel Comics from bankruptcy. It did so well.
Oh, wow.
It rejuvenated their entire brand. And this is what got me into Spider-Man and then the Avengers and everything else, because it comes out once a month and you go get gas once a week. And it's like, oh, I got that G.I. Joe. Can you buy me a different comic book? So I'd buy Spider-Man, and I'd buy an Avengers, and I'd buy like a Thor, whatever. So it did what they wanted to bring in new readers. And I'm hoping this will bring you into comic books as well, because there's a lot out there.
Yes.
You don't have to read Spider-Man, but there are other things. So
yeah, you sent me Sectaurs comics, which Sectaurs, I love the show and I love the toys. When I bought a mask collection, for the Mobile Armored Strike Command, the person who I bought the collection from threw in mask comics and stuff like that. So maybe it will, maybe it won't. Only time will tell.
Yes.
All right. So, we got crew member Giraffe sneaking in here. Yo, Joe. All right. What else you got?
Yo, Giraffe.
What else you got in there? You got more comics you're setting over to the side?
I've got the complete run of Special Missions, but that's packed away.
Okay. All right. Let's get into this thing.
So that cover, that's a nice cover.
It is a nice cover, and I was looking at it, and it says the Blockbuster first issue. Now that's a big bold statement for a comic that is in its first release.
It was $1.50. Usually they were 65 cents. Guys, behave.
Yeah.
It was printed on premium paper. So Marvel went all in on issue number 1.
Yeah, so I don't have the actual copy of this, but it was an extensive comic. It was long. It was longer than the issue.
It was a double issue, pretty much. And you've got, there's no Snake Eyes on the cover, which is odd, because at a later point in the run, it's going to be Snake Eyes and G.I. Joe. He's going to get like top billing on the cover.
Okay.
Kind of weird. And I know you love ninjas so much, Mr. Toy Habit.
So
they are going to get so deep into ninjas. Yeah, but that comes much, much later.
this is kind of my experience at Joe Fan 84 is, but I'm getting into the comics much later in life. I didn't read the comics much, but I just watched the Deep TV show. That's what I watched.
Why? Why?
I missed out on a lot. I didn't get into the comics until later in life. I don't know. Want to say what's up to Rolando Flores, who joined us, and the one and only Baroness of Toys is joining us. Got the recent reprint of this one. This is a great comic with epic cover art. Yes, you're looking at the cover art, and it is epic. Thank you for joining us, Miss Baroness. I mean, the Baroness is in the comic, so it's great to have her in the chat.
If she was not in the comic, do you think you would have had a Baroness action figure? No.
No, probably not.
No.
Probably not. So we get into the second page. And so
you would call that like a splash page.
Okay. This is a splash page. So this is the title of this comic, Operation Lady Doomsday. Is that correct?
Sounds like my last Tinder date. Mm-hmm.
Jeez. We have Ryan Cole joining us. What's up, Ryan? We have Clint. Remember Clint Jorgensen? Comics would not have lasted long in the hot tub. See, Clint has a very analytical mind, and so I brought in all my GI Joes to the hot tub. If I brought in the comics, they would just be a hot mess. So
they would.
So this is where basically they're setting up what GI Joe actually is before we even get into the story, which I think is brilliant.
Yep. And we don't have Sky Strikers yet, but we do have some fighter jets.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was looking for some vehicles that I might have recalled seeing or playing with, and there's not many in here, but it's actually fun to see. It has a more military vibe. It's like a straight up military vibe and a very like Cold War, World War II feel to it.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember the first year GI Joe commercials. But it's like, oh, look, Cobra stealing the Ram motorcycle. Yep. Here comes Clutch and the Vamp to stop him. Yo, Joe, everyone. Because Cobra had nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And
they did have a paper. They did have a paper base from Sears.
They had a paper base that I didn't know about until like 30 years later.
Right, exactly. You know, where the Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander came from, that you can't get for any price. But interesting. So all the Joes are basically green shirts. There's really not a lot of differentiation aside from, you know, a couple of them with the red you know, protective gear on them.
You got like Flash and Grand Slam. And yeah, that was it. Really. Yeah. And since I mean, Stalker had his own camouflage going, and Snake Eyes is black, and then you got Scarlet. Yeah. Way to save costs, Hasbro.
I know, right? Is that Snake Eyes down at the bottom there?
It is.
Okay. All right. I was trying to figure that out because yeah, just seeing him from the back was not registering.
And most everyone's got an M16.
That's true. That is true. You got probably good old rock and roll with the whole nine crisscrossing on his back there.
Yep.
So starts off, you know, seemingly there's a
Monday, 8:30 hours, somewhere between New York City and Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me, if you were doing a press conference, would you have it on an Amtrak? That's what
I mean, every Amtrak train I've been on has been kind of crappy. Probably not, you know. But
were they better back in the day? I don't know. Who knows?
No, probably not. No, probably not. I mean, it does set the story in motion, though. You know,
it sets it literally sets it in motion because this is a moving train. We have Dr. Adele Burkhart, who is America's top nuclear physicist, and she is giving this press conference on this train, and you know, not saying some great words about the military, which is not good.
Yeah, and Larry Hama, he did serve in Vietnam. Thank you very much for your service, sir.
M16, and America's raffle.
And then we get these Cobra vehicles that look like, I don't know, like, I guess if the Claw had like a, cousin that no one wanted around, that's what it would look like.
This thing, yeah. So
Yeah.
Cobra decides to descend on this Amtrak, and I'm not sure where they got their intel from, but yes, it's funny because when I was referencing like, oh, I'm looking for stuff that's familiar to me, like these were familiar to me because I'm staring at them right up there, but they do look a little different. They look a lot more mechanical than technologically advanced, but
Yeah.
it was kind of funny to see. I was like, oh, right, that looks like the Claw. But man, these train cars they're pretty roomy. I mean, they have enough for
They are.
all. I mean, this whole shootout going on, and this is an interesting thing too. Is like, it erupts in just violence on page 3 or page
And
4.
the kids comic.
Yes, the kids comic.
God, I miss the 80s.
I was going to say, how cool was this? Because a lot of the cartoons were pretty sanitized, right? And
They
so
were. This is,
you
yeah,
didn't have
this is
death, you
not.
didn't have stuff like this. You had people shooting at each other, but they'd miss.
I mean, you got the Baroness grabbing this lady's hair and saying, "Shut up! You're making my trigger finger itch."
Right.
I'm like, okay.
Okay. Does
I'll
that
try it.
form an impression on a young man?
No, probably not.
I don't know. But yeah, so
I mean, I've never grabbed a woman by the hair. I've never
no,
done that.
I never
So,
meant that. I'm just like,
okay.
is this a way to act or treat people, right? It's like you don't do this. You don't come
Well,
across
I think it's kind of clear that the Baroness is not a, I don't think she goes to church every Sunday.
No, you're right. Maybe the Baroness of Toys. Oh no, the Baroness of Toys does not go to church. She goes somewhere else. But
Okay.
no.
He goes to the toy shop down on Fifth Avenue.
That's right. That's right. But I was looking at this, and it was a very interesting way that they got her out of this train. They basically have a parachute, and if the train is traveling, parachute, gets all the air sucked into it, and she goes up. I thought that was a brilliant move.
Anyone seen The Dark Knight?
Yes. Many times. Similar.
Similar thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So they get Dr. Burkhart in that really like 1960s looking Cobra chopper. It's like,
Yeah. Is that like a Chinook I don't know. I don't know my helicopters that much, but yeah, when I saw this, it made me think like, why didn't we see like toys like this if they were producing these in the comics? Although the toys that they made were much cooler than this, so maybe
they were. Yeah, and like especially Cobra's stuff's only going to get nicer as it goes on. They start out pretty blah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start somewhere, right? When you have your organization, you got to build your infrastructure, you got to get an influx of money. Maybe this was all they could afford at the time, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? So we have a break, right? It's all right. We're leaving the scene. The doctor has been absconded with, and now we are at the Pentagon in some sort of briefing.
And we got General Flagg, who, God bless him, he gets his own aircraft carrier.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. General Flagg is going to get an aircraft carrier. And we get General Austin, who fucking cares about him? No one. That's who. No one.
I was like, who is General Austin? I mean, he's got to have somebody to talk to, right? But I guess they didn't feel like making General Austin into a character in the TV show or the cartoon, but he's got somebody to confab with. But you're right, we don't see Sky Strikers. We see some other Air Force type of vehicles, and they are watching this whole thing ensue, which is cool. And yeah, it's funny, they got like the TV feeds that they have everywhere, like they can actually tap into like a Cobra
Already done.
briefing or party or whatever they're doing. This this whole scene here has like World War II undertones.
It does. It does. Yeah.
It really
But
does.
it establishes in issue 1 because like it won't be easy. Cobra has legions, well trained and equipped with all the latest hardware. A direct frontal assault could turn into a bloodbath for our boys.
Yeah.
General Austin, we have no alternative. Bitch.
General Austin, who are you?
So it's like they're obviously like a known threat. It's a known entity that we have to deal with, but like we have a special group called G.I. Joe. Woohoo! Yeah.
There's that shooter G.I. Joe. That's right. Yep, she was that. Oh yeah, that's Giraffe was looking at the bottom corner there. There's that person.
And that was done because of Shooter was the editor-in-chief at Marvel, so they just made him a little character.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I think they named the Night Force female character that was new in the classified series.
She's hot.
Ooh, I shouldn't mention the female characters. That might get us a little off track and break the PG-13. So it's cool. I like seeing a lot of familiar names: Hawk, Grand Slam, Short Fuse, Flash, etc. Yeah, the only person there was Shooter that was different from like the original 12 or 13 Joes. But so riddle me this. This guy looks very familiar with a different name. This is Clayton Abernathy, right?
Hawk? Yeah.
Yes, but he looks like somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of looks like Duke. I mean, don't all blondes kind of look the same though? At the end of the day, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, so do brunettes, and you know.
No, they don't. But anyway.
But yeah, here we get an introduction to Hawk, and we get to see a familiar vehicle, the Vamp.
And Clutch.
Yes, and Clutch, and what looks like to be a dragon, maybe a dragonfly that's flying up there.
It does. Yeah. I'm sure that's unintentional, but yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of does.
They haven't even thought about that yet. But yeah, it's nice to see some familiar stuff on this page, you know, as you're reading. And so we're kind of getting a view into how expansive G.I. Joe is, and apparently how well trained they are too. I mean, if I had a rifle range and a target area practice, like a little dojo that I could wrestle with, like if you and I had this setup, we would be in a
wait. You don't have one of these at your house?
It's being built.
Okay.
So there. There's a back to tank too. I mean, look at that.
I know. How cool is that?
They took some cues from Star Wars, which was cool. Yeah, so they're establishing G.I. Joe as a force to be reckoned with. There's a tank in the shot too, which is the Mobat, which is nice, and I think a little piece of the HAL too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So, all right, now we're getting into some familiar territory here. So this is the first time we're seeing Scarlet and Snake Eyes, and also I think Stalker too. Yeah. So the briefing is kind of cool because I was like, is this Cobra Island or just some, you know, this was probably way before Cobra Island, right?
It's Cobra Island, but yeah, I guess it's before Cobra Island. But I mean, like look at what Stalker says real quick. They're going to risk our butts to rescue a woman who's practically a traitor. How's that sit with you, Snake Eyes? And you know, Snake Eyes just got the, you know, like whatever.
Yeah, so it's funny. Yeah, this is where we either get the sense that Snake Eyes is just being an a-hole and not answering, or does he have a problem and can't speak? So that it remains to be seen. But you know, for people that have not read this, Most people have, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, they got a lot of technology here. They got a pulse Doppler radar on the mountain that can spot stuff. So they're trying to get a sense of like what they're dealing with here once they formulate their attack, right?
Hmm.
All right. So, okay, a full battalion of 1,200 men is in this thing. That's pretty crazy.
That's a lot of dudes.
That's a lot of dudes, right? And here we get our first shot of Cobra Commander, and he is hooded. That surprised me because I was not. I always had the regular battle mask Cobra Commander in my head the first time I would see what Cobra Commander would look like in this comic, but all bets are off.
Yeah, and then they show the Baroness like, this is the Baroness. Don't ever turn your back on her unless she's dead.
Ah, I love that.
Even then, I search her for grenades, and I'm like, yeah.
You're like, you'd probably be searching for something else, huh?
Yeah. Only if Destro wasn't around.
Stay on topic.
Yeah.
All right. So here they're basically confirming that Cobra has the great Dr. Adele. We have Paisano 777. He would search. I like that. He likes to live dangerously.
Yeah.
Like that. All right. So they're going all in. They took an oath to defend the Constitution. They do work for the military. And so they're going to do this thing.
And let's just point out that, like, okay, we've established Cobra Commander, and then we got the Baroness. So Baroness is like number 2 for this organization. There's no Destro, there's no Major Blood. It's I mean, really, toy wise, you had Cobra Officer, Cobra Soldier, Cobra Commander, and that's it. And then they created Baroness for the comic book.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great point. So you're establishing basically the high command of right now. You only know of Cobra Commander and the Baroness, right?
Yeah, and then in a couple issues we'll get. I don't know if he's a Cobra Officer or Soldier, but they call him Scarface. Have you gotten that far?
No. I'm taking these week by week, my friend.
Okay. I'll backing it up. Okay.
Giraffe. Nobody pulls hair while Hawk is in charge. The Baroness is going down. See, we have a great crew. All right. So they're all right. So they're going in. Yeah, they're just setting up that their job is going to be a good one, and so or sorry, a big one.
So the page 21, the bottom right panel, right there, where Cobra Commander is just pointing at Dr. Burkhart. That's awesome pose for Cobra Commander.
Yes,
just get right in her face, like, I'm telling you.
That's right. The Baroness is in a different garb. She looks a little bit more high command. Again, we have the World War II undertones with the very overt salute of that Cobra officer, which I was like, wow.
That falls off in later issues.
Yeah.
They just stopped doing it.
It's like, you got to get your style down and what you want to convey. And as the time goes on, people change and their styles change and how they want to portray the comic. And I'm not offended by this at all. It was just like, oh, okay, they went there.
Well, Cobra is not a nice people, so
that's true. And then so we have a bald guy standing right next to in the top there. Is that who I think it is or could be?
You mean Baron Strucker?
Sure.
From Hydra?
Maybe.
No, I don't think we ever see him again, which seems to be like, dude, you got this like evil looking dude right there. What's his story? Where's his action figure?
Right. Giraffe has a different take on this. Cobra Commander likes people to raise their hands before speaking, which is fine. I think the angle is different enough where it's not as overt, but it's very subtle. But that's all I'm going to say. But no, that's a really great scene here where he's getting right in her face, and he's given, like, this is Cobra Command. Is this Cobra Commander's like chair that he sits in for his like interviews and stuff? Like, he's given her his seat.
She was strapped in there pretty good, you know.
Yeah, complete with cuffs.
Yeah.
So yeah, so now we have the invasion force coming in, and is that who's chewing the bubble gum there? Is that Clutch?
Breaker.
Sorry, yeah, Breaker chews the bubble gum. That's right. And we have I love seeing that jetpack on Stalker.
Yeah.
I thought that was really
neat. And he just killed all those dudes.
Oh my gosh. So the killing again was surprising for me because there was no killing in the cartoon, and I was like, all right, they're doing this. They don't waste any time.
Nope.
No.
And you get that rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So you got invasion forces coming. You got one man blowing up that entire seawall that they have set up there, which is awesome. Special mission force, right?
Did you like the science fiction elements? I mean, I know as you go on, it gets a bit more out there with some things, but did the science fiction elements of G.I. Joe bother you?
Well, no, because all of it is a suspension of disbelief in reality. Anyway, it is fiction. It's nice to get into a little bit of science fiction mixed in here, so it's not just like strict military. You can see like, okay, yeah, they have it's military based, but they have the means to develop different types of weapons and different types of vehicles to combat whatever Cobra throws at them, and vice versa, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have Tony's Figs sneaking in here. Absolutely love these comics. And Tony, I'm reacting to these for the first time, so you know this. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. The Birdman did.
Woof woof.
So yeah, so we got some cool action going on at the beach. They've basically laid waste to their opposition and basically cleared the way for them to proceed further into the island. And that was the funniest thing on this page was like Cobra Commander expecting nobody to survive.
Yeah, he just flat out told him, like, I hadn't expected any of you to survive. You imbeciles! How could you have survived? And Baron is just, man, she's oscillated. She's like, they're far too efficient for my taste. I say we kill the hostage now and send out fire teams to sweep the whole island.
Jeez, she
don't play.
No, she just wants to cut to the chase. She's very impatient, trigger happy. You know, from the first couple pages we saw, she just wanted to just waste her right there. So, all right. You know, given that there's 1,200 men on this, or men probably and women too on this island, you know, they have the means to combat the invasion.
They do, and Cobra Commander points that out. He's being restrained and calm. It's like, no, look, we've got the doctor, we've got fortified position. Let them come to us, and so it is. So it shall be.
Which is funny because, like, I always think of Cobra Commander as like, you know, he's the half-cocked person that doesn't really think about, you know, what he's doing. But this is a very like,
it's not the cartoon Cobra Commander.
No, you're right. You're right. I have to get that out of my head. So it was interesting just kind of looking at both of, you know, from a lens of like, oh, I knew this person one way, but now he's being portrayed a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if you just watch the cartoon, it's kind of hard to take Cobra Commander serious for anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you watch the cartoon, like, why isn't Destro running this show?
Yeah.
He's a bit more serious.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, in the comic book, like Cobra Commander, he's got it locked down.
Yeah, we got 2 people coming in. We got Breaker and Flash, and they're trying to figure out how to get how to get through this fence or around this fence or just disable the communication equipment. So yeah, I mean they end up doing it, which is great. And so, we got another in for the invasion team to come in and rescue the good doctor.
We've got Scarlet and Snake Eyes doing some ninja rappelling down the side of the castle.
Oh, that's them. Okay, I see. I was like, all right, yes, that is them. That is true. That is true. Yeah, there's a lot going on in very many places.
And then you got another team out at the airfield, and those look kind of like MiGs to me.
Yeah. So yeah, again, more of the military illustration style for the aircraft. There's also something that looks like a C, what is it, a C-170 or something, like a troop carrier as well. And then this really off the wall hydrofoil.
That's crazy, man. Like someone was eating mushrooms that day.
I know. It's like, what? Out of all
Can we HasLab that? Come on, people.
I know, right? Out of all the vehicles, like everything looks like it would come from the military, and then there's this crazy like this hydrofoil on ski.
Like looks like the Jetsons.
Yeah. Oh, so is this where you were talking about some of like the science fiction aspect?
No, I had forgotten how ridiculous this thing looked.
Okay.
I just meant like a jetpack or a laser rifle, but
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, jetpacks are not that science fiction. I mean, the Mandalorian and Boba Fett have one. So
and that's like ancient history because it was a long time ago.
That's true. It was in a galaxy far, far away.
Right.
Yes. There's only a 6-man team. Did you expect him to spearhead straight through the front door? All right. So, we got an invasion force bringing heavy artillery into the fray. I love the sounds of this stuff. Whomp, badoom, wham, badam. I mean, all of this stuff blowing up. It's
and check out that dead Cobra dude right there at the bottom. He's just like
he's toast.
Toast.
He's dead. Yeah, so it was interesting to see like all of the destruction and death, although it's cartoony and there's no blood, but again, it's not something that I was used to. So all right, what do we got going on here? This is Scarlet and Snake Eyes doing their sneaky ninja stuff.
Doing their sneaky stuff, and we got Scarlet in a helmet. I think she looks pretty sexy in that helmet.
I thought she did too. Like I would have loved to see the toy at some point come with a helmet, which would have been fun. But they're like, oh, we can't get around her hair. Like, we'll figure it out, toy people.
Well, the original Scarlet had short hair.
That's right. She could have had a.
She could.
So, all right. So we got a couple really capable people on the inside doing some stuff. We got a bunch of people on the outside making sure that everybody can get in. We got the poor doctor. There's another salute to Cobra Commander. We have the good doctor. And we have the hydrofoil landing craft that has some familiar vehicles to it, which is cool.
Got the Mobat, the Vamp, the Howl, the Ram.
Yep. And like how they were able to get that landed and not blown up on the way is beyond me with Cobra's fleet that they had on the island. But if this is as stealthy as this hydrofoil looks, then
it has stealth technology.
Stealth for her pleasure. All right. So we got more shots of the Ram. We got the Vamp bringing in the Howl. And we got Snake Eyes and Scarlet doing their thing inside the generator room. So they're blowing up some stuff there, which is cool. I love how they just illustrated Snake Eyes. He's just like, boop. Yeah. All right. So what are we? It's what is it? Halfway? No, a little bit more than halfway. So they're trying to get
And I don't know, like, let's not gloss over this. I don't believe it. Cobra wiped out the entire village, women and kids, everybody. They did it to keep them from helping us. Like, Cobra killed an entire village of people. Like
that. Yeah, that actually that surprised me seeing this one. Like I was in shock. I was like, wait, what are they doing here?
Yeah. And then they're having a discussion like, we should bury these people. And it's like, wrong, we're not burying anyone, no matter how innocent they were. We've got an ambush to set up. So
that's crazy.
Keep moving, soldier.
Yeah. We have a very close tank battle. Which,
yeah.
I don't know about you. I don't know if tank battles ever are this close, but hey, it's a comic. Suspension of reality. But yeah, the killing of the entire village was that was a shock, and I'm sure that Larry Hama's experience factored into that as well. We got Brian coming in. Ooh, comics. Yes. Giraffe. See, Giraffe is he likes to think about these things. There's no proof it was Cobra. It could have been a bear or something, right?
I mean, that's true. I mean, maybe it was I don't know.
Is everybody like naked or like almost naked in this thing too? That was the weirder part too. Like, where the hell did everybody's clothes go? But I digress. All right.
Moving on. Yes, okay. more explosions. And we have stalkers swooping down to rescue the good doctor, and it turns out it's the Baroness. Thought you were getting a blonde, you end up with a goth chick.
I love it. Yeah, so here's where we get a taste of the Baroness's disguises, which was great because it fooled Stalker, right?
And we got Cobra Commander donning his special combat helmet.
Yes, so this is what I was waiting for, was how he looked like illustrated in the comics with his combat helmet. And we have the what looks like to be a presidential type helicopter for Cobra. Ready to whisk it.
And we learned this was all his master plan, just to get all the G.I. Joes in the castle and blow them up. So
I mean, that's a great plan. If they actually wrote the story this way, this just would have been a once and done issue, right? So yeah, and then we got Scarlet and Snake Eyes just cleaning house inside the castle. And yeah, there's a lot of action. Like, I think the thing that I really liked about just a lot of this so far was just all the pages had a lot of action. They were very like purposeful, and it doesn't seem like there's any fluff yet.
No. Wait till you get to the assault on Cobra Island.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
What issue is that?
It's much later.
Much later. So it'll be like what, 2 or 3 years into us doing this.
The Crimson Twins were what, the 4th wave of figures?
Something like that.
Because we got the Crimson Guard at that point in time. Because they trick the U.S. government into dropping a nuclear bomb into, I think, the Pacific, thinking they're going to wipe out a Cobra base or something, and it creates like a fault line, which creates an island. And Cobra goes to like the UN to take possession of the island, and it's crazy.
That's pretty nuts.
But yeah.
So we got Joe's riding in a car, which I don't remember seeing land on the beach, but maybe I missed something. But We see Cobra Commander in his battle mask, which looks a little bit like his G.I. Joe Classified series look, with his ropes on his right shoulder. Some more Scarlet in that fantastic helmet.
Yes.
And what else do we got?
We got Scarlet using some ninja stars.
Oh boy, yeah. So I was like, oh man, they're going
Go ninja, go ninja, go.
They're going Ninja Army now.
Yeah.
But really brilliant of Larry Hama to, you know, and the illustrators to illustrate, you know, this interaction, because now we can figure out where the good Cobra Commander is going. Because he got tagged with a star. The poor doctor got shot in the arm. Jeez. I was like, wow.
I mean, just amputate the arm. She'll be okay.
Yeah. I mean, you know, in 82, they had okay medical coverage, right?
Yeah.
So this is where Cobra Commander is like, okay, he needs to go
out like trout, baby.
Yeah, he needs to go. The Joes have control. They have the good doctor, and they are escaping. And in the beautiful helicopter.
Cobra helicopter. That's right.
Would you buy that as a kid?
Yeah, I probably would have.
All right. And then we have the grand finale of the explosion, the exploding castle, as the helicopter flies away and the Joes are looking at the destruction that they've left. Now we have an escape, right, for the Baroness in a biplane.
Yep. Cobra Commander and her are going back to the true headquarters.
Okay, in a Cessna, basically.
Cobra Commander says, "We must rest for now."
Yeah, I mean, how easy would this be to pick off in the air? Come on.
Well, it's probably small and it's flying under the radar, and
yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that part. Did not think about that part. But
then we get a splash page for the HAL. That's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. Yeah, it's funny. Like when I was reading issue 34, there was like advertisements in there, and I was like, oh yeah, it's a book. So Giraffe. This was pre-Destro. Cool vehicles coming soon to an issue near you. I like that. Yeah, so we get a splash of the HAL. So what? Okay, so talk to me about this. So this is basically the G.I. Joe facility that's underground.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right.
Yep, everything's underground. It's kind of cool. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, it gets destroyed eventually, but
oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I guess I'm kind of wondering, like, why did they? I guess they could have built this into the story, right? I mean, they gave us a little bit taste of what this thing was, but I guess maybe this was just too big, maybe to build into the story, and they just had to do it this way.
Yeah. But you see more of the pit in the following issues.
Yeah. And then we get so they had a bonus.
Yeah, we got a short little bonus story, which may be racially insensitive by today's standards, but just makes it that much better. We're in the Middle East, and we got Scarlet Rock and Roll Snake Eyes are 2 hours overdue. That mad Colonel Sharifi has been known to behead jaywalkers.
Oh boy.
So why don't we just pop across the border? And negative clutch, we're sitting on the only escape route out of Sharifi's Emirates. So they're dressed up as Arab people.
Yep.
And like Cobra Command is bankrolling Colonel Sharifi and his fanatical Guardians of Paradise. They're an extremely unstable element. and you'll get this in the comic book. Cobra Commander will be funding like wacko people across the country.
Okay.
They'll make terror drones and sell them to despots for money. And I mean, everyone needs at least 2 terror drones, right?
Oh, most definitely, yeah, at least 2. Totally. Because what if one blows up? It's like you need 2 Death Stars, right? You need 2 terror drones. What if one blows up?
So then, boom, we're in like this foxhole with Scarlet, who's hurt, Rock and Roll, and Snake Eyes, and you got, oh, look at that dead dude right there, just staring up dead. And Scarlet's like, the border's 10 miles away or whatever. Like, you got to get this little tape thingy, and you need to run and take it. I'll stay and hold them off. And Snake Eyes will go with you. And she points her gun at Snake Eyes to get him to do it. It's like, no, you're going to do this.
That's crazy. That's nuts.
Yeah.
And he's not going to say anything, right?
Well, I mean, he can't,
I
know. So they take off across the desert, and then Snake Eyes goes back because Scarlet's pinned down. And again, there's a lot of action here. It's like pretty nonstop. And she's about to get, overtaken. And Snake Eyes comes in at the nick of time to save her.
There you go. See, what are friends for, right?
What are friends for?
Rat-a-tat, tat, tat, tat.
Rat-a-tat, tat, tat. And then Rock and Roll shows back up at that little bar place and
the Casbah
gives him the tape thingy, and then he takes back. Then we got Sharifi. He looks like a 1980s Middle Eastern despot, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
And Rock and Roll just goes back to help Scarlet and Snake Eyes, and they're getting charged. And swell, both of our guns are dry now. They'll overrun us with the next wave. I've been saving 2 shots in my backup piece. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be captured.
2 shots. I like your Scarlet voice. It's very pleasant.
Hey, what's that coming over the hill? It's rock and roll!
Rock and roll!
Eat hot lead, turkeys. Go, 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 go. And then they make their escape, and boom, boom.
Nice. That's
cool.
That was really interesting that they had, like, the first story was amazing, and then they were like, should we just throw an extra one in here because why not?
Why not?
Why not? Why not? So issue 1, fantastic. I wish I would have, looking back, would have read these as a kid, because I would have had a totally different mindset than I do now. But issue 2 comes along.
Mm-hmm.
The panic at the North Pole.
That sounds like a band,
It does. They have Panic at the Disco, Panic at the North Pole.
Panic at North Pole. Yeah.
That's right. So this one it's a short, so am I correct in assuming that the ones that are beyond this are going to be about this length and more?
This is a standard length issue. Yeah.
Got it. That's right in time. 60 cents of action and adventure. I love that. From Giraffe. So, all right. Here, and so again, what is this page called again?
Splash page?
Splash page. Okay. And is this splash page kind of where they set up what kind of the general vibe of the story is going to be?
Usually. Yeah.
All right. So we got American research station in the North Pole, and they're trying to figure out what happened to it, right?
Yeah. Looks like they had a party.
Some people were, what else are you going to do when you're in the North Pole, right?
And like General Flagg always seems to wear his sunglasses inside. So,
don't you wear your sunglasses at night? I'm surprised you don't have them on. So.
Well, they're in the truck. So,
all right, fine. And please don't leave me to go get them.
I won't. But yeah, they got to recall the team. to go on this mission because everyone's on vacation, don't you
That's
know?
right. Yeah, so this sets up that GI Joe are they're a special organization, but they like to have fun too, and they have
Yeah.
lives.
Yep. Stalker's out taking nature photos.
Mhm.
Breaker's at MIT doing geeky computer stuff.
Oh
Just
my
a
god,
cute guy running the
that's right.
crystalline fracture point program.
The
They
lady.
call him Breaker. Works for the government. Comes in every other month or so and plays with the computers. Wink, wink.
You do the lady voices are I like those.
I'd like to meet him, but I don't want to come off too forward. He seems a little shy.
Back in the day.
It's almost coffee break time. Why don't we both invite him down to the commissary for a snack? And I could manage to get lost, and then you could like lose your panties, and then he could be off.
Wait, is this in the thing? No.
I made up the part about the panties. Okay.
This is you. Oh wait, you have the alternate.
I have the alternate. I have the adult version.
Yeah, sorry. This is the one that came with the Kickstarter. So they left out those pages.
And then Scarlett's kicking ass at a karate tournament.
Oh yeah, so this makes total sense now because when the 25th anniversary GI Joes came out, they released the like figures that were the comic versions of the figures, and there were Scarlett and a Gi, and so I guess that's where that came from. But it's cool because we set up that Scarlett, yes, outside of work, she is also a badass.
Mm-hmm.
Thwack right there.
And then Snake Eyes. This is where we learn that Snake Eyes is disfigured. He's in like a tank thingy and like, okay, Mr. Rank Classified Snake Eyes, your leave is canceled, so you can pull your wet little butt out of there. And my God, that face. Well, he'll be far more presentable if you give him time to put his mask back on, you stupid asshole. Like,
yeah, they have another back to tank-esque contraption in there. But yeah, so we understand.
Then everyone climbs on a little small plane to fly us to the North Pole.
I know, like everyone does, right? I mean, yeah. So here they're still sticking with the military vibe in issue number 2. So
and General Flag's out there with them. I mean,
as a general should be, right? You should be leading your troops, although probably a bigger army than 4 people, but hey, it's all good. An army's an army.
And like the Snake Eyes figure, the Snake Eyes classified figure, I don't know why they haven't made it yet. It's right here. Arctic Attack Snake Eyes.
Yep.
The black parka, the green pants, the green backpack, the Uzi, and give him the weasel necklace thing.
That's right.
That he takes from Quinn. That's the Snake Eyes classified figure I want. And then throw me in a timber. Charge me $55 for it. I'll pay it. I won't bitch about it.
All the dogs. All the puppies. Speaking of Quinn.
There he is.
There he is.
And I really want a Quinn classified figure.
Yes. Yeah.
I just got to pause right here. If you started out with a G.I. Joe comic book, I don't know anyone who doesn't love Quinn. I wish he had been around longer. I mean, in my mind, somehow he is. He's a badass character. It's just like he's awesome character.
Yeah.
And he starts out with like questionable motives and everything, but it's like him and Snake Eyes, like it's like cop buddy movie material right there. I mean, they really are. It's like, dude, they work really well together. And if I had to pick my perfect G.I. Joe team, Snake Eyes, Quinn, Scarlett, and Stalker. That's like all you need. That's it. That's it.
There you go. The Baroness of Toys reminds us that Super 7 can make this version of Snake Eyes with Timber in the O-Ring collection. That's right.
I'll buy that too. I'll buy that. Can they make me a Quinn?
Actually, they did in the reaction line. They made Quinn and the dogs and the sled. But it's in the 5 POA reaction.
Yeah.
Not sure how you like that, but anyways,
It was also like $70, wasn't it?
it was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, they're establishing Quinn, and you're right. Like he is a badass dude, and he doesn't look like, I mean, does he look like a badass? Maybe with with his bullets around his.
I mean, the 30 cal machine gun. I mean, that's kind of, like
30 cal machine gun is a pretty heavy duty piece of equipment.
yeah. Most people just don't walk around just,
No, strapping that to their back. That's right. That's right. So he goes in, he comes out, the Joes follow, and they get a big surprise because Quinn is thinking what one step ahead, right?
Yeah. But he didn't kill them. The scientist froze to death. But Quinn did plant a bomb underneath the table that Snake Eyes finds.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is where like the psychology of the character comes in, right? This is where you learn, like, okay, he's not just a thug that somebody's hired. He's actually thinking about how to get away and not have anyone in pursuit.
Hmm.
So, but the Joes being the Joes, they escape unscathed. And so now they got to figure out, well, how the heck are they going to catch this guy, right?
And we get a dossier on Quinn.
Yes, this is where the dossiers come in. Like this is the file card, right? For the comics, which is cool.
6'10", 260 pounds, freelance special ops enforcers, worked for the CIA, Mossad, KGB, MI6, and other security agencies. So he worked for everybody at one point or another.
Yeah.
Expert tracker, hunter, woodsman, speaks English, Russian, French, Finnish, German, and 3 Inuit dialects. Expert with rifle, pistol, longbow, harpoon, and plastics explosives.
That's crazy. And it printed up nicely from
Breaker's backpack.
Breaker's backpack, which is awesome. Very cool. All right.
And Scarlett's like, phew, this guy has all the earmarks of the most dreaded of all antagonists.
Okay. Oh, yes. Yeah, so we got, oops, where am I? All right. So some time has passed. They come across Quinn's busted plane, and they think they probably have him, right?
They do think that, but they don't.
No, what happens?
Kicks open the door. It's like, this is a failsafe remote detonator. If I release my grip on it, there will be a 50-foot crater where we now stand. I advise you to drop your weapons. They are of no further use to you. And they're like, well, okay.
Alrighty then. See, he's thinking another step ahead, right? Probably 2 steps ahead by now. So
yeah, and we learned that the Russians were like using fear waves and directing them into the US as an experiment in mass paranoia. That just sounds crazy.
It does. It does. So yeah, so a little bit of science fiction, right? Or were they in real life? Who knows? Who knows? Probably would have been declassified at this point, right? If they were. But this is one of my favorite exchanges, because as I was reading this, he was divulging everything, and then at the end of this, they're like, they figured out, like, oh wait, why the heck is he telling us all this? Because they're not going to be alive. And so
yeah,
now it's up to them.
and Quinn's like, the shadow man has the eyes of a shaman. He sees the spirits of snow and eyes gazing at his soul like a hungry bear. I tell you my secrets because you are dead men and you have no supplies, no radio. See ya. And he takes off.
Bye-bye.
I'm out of here. I gotta go somewhere.
Yeah. See ya. Good luck. They
Yep.
should have good, or it's
But no, because the GI Joe team's going to A-team up and make this little funky little Viking sled thingy.
now, if you and I were in this situation, would we come up with something like this?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Right.
I'd be like, remember that episode of the A-Team? And you'd be like, remember that episode of MacGyver? I'd be like, yeah, yeah. And we would just, like, I'd like hum like the A-Team theme, like, dun, 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 and then like an hour later, boom, it'd be there,
Then we'd be
Get a
like,
montage going. Yeah,
let's MacGyver this shit.
that's right.
That's right. So brilliant idea to catch up with Quinn, and then somebody gets the brilliant idea to jury rig an explosive over this
Snake Eyes.
Yes, of course, over this ice bridge. But it's funny because I guess they had blown past him so much that they had the extra time to set all this stuff up, right?
Yeah, and then Scarlet jumps on his head. And he says, good try, pretty lady, but Quinn has fought the polar bear and won. Dude. Man, like, who hasn't fought a polar bear and won, though? Just saying.
Nobody. But, he fends the attack off from Scarlet.
And Snake Eyes reloads his Uzi, and then click, click, click.
How
and
brilliant.
Then Quinn. Luckily, I took the precaution of adding the firing pins from your weapons to my weasel skull necklace as a charm against death by gunfire. Not so lucky for you. It's like, dude, like this dude's all on top of it. It's like saran wrap on top of soup. It's like it ain't going nowhere.
And like, where is he where is he doing this? And like, it's like sleight of hand, right? Throughout this whole thing is what he's doing.
Soon the spirits of snow and ice will devour your souls. That is sad, for you are all brave fighters. I regret having taken this assignment from the Russians because they are tampering with fear, and fear is the greatest killer of all, greater than snow or ice. Dude, like, this is awesome, man. Like, can we just have a conversation about, like, do you want a cheeseburger or fries? And he'd be like, cheeseburger is cow covered with dairy. It's a conundrum wrapped in a riddle in a circle of life. It'd be like, dude, all right, you want an A1 on that too? Be like,
Birdman, I'm going to call you Quinn from now on.
Dude, I can live with that.
All right. I love that. So, yeah, so you were saying earlier, like, we don't know what this guy's motives are, right? His motives are
he took a job, he's going to do the job, and that's it. It's like, hey, they paid me to do this. And he does, he delivers the files to the Russians, and he's like, oh, by the way, G.I. Joe's coming up behind me. So have fun with that. And like the last panel, it's like they're in the distance, they're closer. And then the very last panel is just Snake Eyes with the weasel necklace. Yeah. And the only way he could have gotten that would be, Quinn gave it to him. You're not going to take anything from Quinn.
No.
And it's just like, bitch, damn.
Like, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I noticed that in the last panel too, but then I wanted to back up and I was like, oh, right, you know what? He doesn't have his necklace on in this previous page. So it's been a done deal already. So, wow.
He fulfilled his contract with the Russians. He gave them the tape that they wanted.
That's right.
And job done. But you're not going to get away with what you wanted, and this experiment's over with because G.I. Joe's going to come and kill you. They don't show that. It had been so awesome that it had been like issue 3, But no, we get a giant robot thing. But that's okay.
Yeah, that's discussion for next week, which was
fun. And wasn't version 2 Stalker Arctic Stalker? He came with a kayak.
Yeah, I don't know if he looked more snow-ish than anything else, but yeah, he was.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, I wish we would get this version of Snake Eyes in classified. Just,
this one here.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we need our 17th or 18th version of Snake Eyes, but if they were going to make one, it would have to be this one, right?
Yeah.
But so the Baroness of Toys, I think, is right with this. I think the most likely candidates would be Super 7. And I'm fine with it at, I actually would prefer it at 3 3/4 inch scale. But I'm sure they'll make both, probably.
I'd take a 12-inch Hot Toy.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, wouldn't anyone would, right?
I mean, Zorana takes 12-inch Hot Toys every Friday, but
I mean, she's got unlimited funds. So yeah. I knew that was coming at some point. I'm like, when is the Zorana hammer gonna drop? And where's it gonna be?
oh, in about 30 minutes.
I know, right? Oh boy. But that was really, I mean, that was fun. Like I thoroughly enjoyed reading these things and also just talking to you about it, because I remember we spent quite a bit of time on the phone talking about like the Kickstarter and these comics, and you were going on about all these stories about in these comics, and it wasn't a linear thing. You were kind of jumping around and telling me all this.
I'm like, and Cobra Commander's son Billy, and Cobra Commander used to sell cars, and you're just like, what? And I'm like, I'm not making this shit up, man. This is real.
So the shock and awe of all this just got me all excited, and plus like the coup de grace of just sending me an issue to like actually physically read was brilliant on your part, by the way. So
yeah, and it's like I told you, I'm like, there will not be another chance to get all this content for this price ever again.
That's true.
Because if you just piecemeal this out on eBay, oh my lord, it's going to take you a while, and it's going to cost you a lot of money. I mean, when you look at paying, I hate buying one comic book off eBay because they want to charge $12 to ship it.
That's true.
Like, oh, $5 for the book, $12 to ship it. I'm like, what? This is stupid. So
yeah. And Roman, yes, I do remember that they did make this for the 25th anniversary line. I was trying to picture, because I bought them all and sold them at some point, and I vaguely remember this version of Snake Eyes. So thank you for reminding me, Mr. Roman. Yeah, so this version of Snake Eyes does exist, but I don't know how much it would be to buy them off the secondary market.
I think they made like a Quinn Snake Eyes 2-pack or something at one point.
Let's see.
Comic book, maybe.
Let's see. Quinn Joe comic pack. Let me just look this up right now. Oh yeah. I remember. Okay, I remember this one now. But doesn't look like. Let's see. Well, there is Quinn. Let me just get a better picture of this. All right. Let's see. Oh, I don't have my I don't have my tab share. Sorry. Let me just get that on there.
I can't see the chat. The people in the chat. Well, when did y'all start reading the comic book? Did y'all start in pretty early, or did you start in later, or what was y'all's experience with the comic back in the day?
Extra. All right, sharing my screen. Sorry, this is taking me an insane amount of time to do, and this is not the greatest. Oops, not the greatest picture. But yeah, they did make a Quinn, so he does have his necklace. They did make a Snake Eyes without the necklace, and here's like kind of the Scarlet with the gi outfit on, from that.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, it's not the Snake Eyes with the necklace though, and that would be the one to make, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, all good stuff. Yeah, I think in the chat. Oh my gosh, we got Aaron joining. Good friend and friend of the channel. I've tried to get it into it as a kid, but my one comic shop in town didn't stock it regularly. That's blasphemy, right?
Hey, y'all behave.
Let's see, Roman midway through. Yeah, I think the only other person that made a mention of it earlier said that I think it was Joe Fan, said that he got into it, you know, a lot later, but much earlier than I did, because the time is now. So, but yeah, it's cool stuff. So I think what the plan is to probably go through a couple of these issues a week, and however long it takes us, we'll just get through this. And the plan is to do this once a week. We might take a week off, or if we're busy or whatever, but I'm looking forward to this adventure that you've gotten me into.
The story gets a lot more serialized around issue 6 or so, I think.
What
You get. I'm sorry.
What do you mean by serialized?
Like the first couple issues are just kind of like one-offs, like we just had with issue number 2, and then number 3, like there's a giant robot that's in the pit killing people, but it gets to the point it's just like a continuous story that's just going to build and build and build and build.
I was wondering about that, because
Cobra Commander is going to have like a bioweapon that they develop with Scarface, and they're trying to use him to set him out and to infect people, and then like the whole thing with Cobra Island comes into play, and then Serpentor comes into play, and the Cobra Civil War, and it's going to get pretty deep.
I like it. He said deep. Well,
and like, unfortunately, I think with the IDW, I think when IDW took over, they just kind of like picked up where it left off. I think they should have just done like a hard reboot and started over, because I mean, sometimes you just collapse under the sheer weight of everything you've done, and you need to just hit the reset button.
Yeah.
But like, because they killed Snake Eyes in IDW, and his brain pattern was saved in the brainwave machine, and it was imprinted into someone else. I'm just like, please.
Well, I got something to look forward to every week. I got my homework to do, which is good. So, we'll hit everybody back up next week with
But I hope everyone enjoyed this.
I did.
This was our first time doing a show together, kind of. At least on your channel. I mean, you've done some on mine.
Yeah. I've been on your show quite a few times, and that was fun in like the early days, right?
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of which, where can people find you, Mr. Birdman?
Soundtracks with Birdman on YouTube. I haven't done much this year. It's been a crazy year. Hopefully next year I'll get back in the swing of things.
Yeah, YouTube's a funny thing. I think I was about to hang it up at one point. So
I told you, I said do some live streams, man. They're so much easier and they're so much more fun.
They are. And you were right. Definitely right. Well, cool. Yeah, and definitely hope everyone enjoyed this. I mean, I thoroughly did just getting to chat with a good friend and chat with the community, and also just to get to live these things for the first time. So be fun to do this every week, and then maybe your master plan will work out, Birdman, where I get into other comics and we do spin-off after spin-off, right?
I mean, I am 1000% sure that your lovely wife would love for you to find something else for you to collect and buy off eBay. And I know it would be so inexpensive for you to get like the complete run of Amazing Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
with everything CGC graded at least a 9.2. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
Roman is reminding us not to forget the Devil's Due Publishing. All right, so there's a lot.
There is. But I mean, that Kickstarter they did, that I was like, wow, it's got everything from Marvel right there.
Yeah. Well,
And with the success of that, I would think everyone else is going to like follow suit and be like, dude, they did almost $4 million off of this.
that's crazy.
And it was 50,000 to fund. So if that's not successful, I don't know what is. So there is an appetite for this. People want this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
And let me know if I don't keep track of the comic Kickstarters that much. And so if something comes up again like this, that it's for a totally different thing that I'm not into, sell me on it. I want to see if you can do this twice, 3 times a lady.
I'm wondering if they're going to do the Transformer Marvel comic. It seems like that would be the next logical thing to do.
Yeah. Actually, if they did that, then I would get into that, because I like the toys and stuff like that, and I love the cartoons. So it's kind of a similar thing.
Well, the once again, the Marvel comic for Transformers is entirely different from the cartoon.
I know. I'm just saying I'm in a similar situation where I was not aware of the comics or just into them, and now I'm like, why wasn't I?
Yeah, the Transformer comic, I think it started out as a 4-issue series, and it did so well, then they just kept going. If I remember correctly, like at the end of the 4th issue, Shockwave shows up and just about kills Megatron.
Oh, jeez.
And he's like, I'm in charge now.
Wow.
And then like Megatron, gets better and fights Shockwave, and it was completely different from the cartoon.
Wow.
The cartoon, it was like, what's Starscream going to do this week? Like, what's Megatron got up his sleeve? But no, the comic was completely different.
Yeah. What's up, Jedi Ben? Nice to see you. We're actually just wrapping up and about to close, but yeah, we'll do this again next week with issues 3 and 4. We'll see how far we get, and if we can, as time goes on, we'll feel out how many of these things we could do in one stream. If we want to do like, let's do a marathon 10 comic book run stream. Just kidding. You're like, I gotta work and go to sleep.
Yeah, I gotta get up at 4. So.
Oh, yeah, that's right. All right. Well, we will bid good night to everyone, and hopefully we will see you all next week for a recap of issues 3 and 4. All right.
And thank you everyone for coming by. I hope you enjoyed the recap. A lot of good memories of these comic books. My grandmother would read these to me back in the day.
Oh.
And G.I. Joe comics, to me, is probably more important than even the toy, I think.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm glad you're doing this with me, somebody who is knowledgeable and passionate and has such good memories. So
it's been a long ass time since I've read all these. So it's
blast from the past.
It is. So,
well, good.
Thank you for doing this, and thank you for succumbing to the temptation of backing that Kickstarter.
Anytime, my friend. I'm looking forward to it. All right. Have a good night, everyone.